morning. My name is John Helton. I'm very happily and humbly and proudly your chair for Max this year for the 22-23 term. Taking over for my predecessor, Amy Lancaster King. And one thing we always like to do at the beginning of our webinars is thank our sponsors. Without their contributions and without the support of our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do this work as a professional membership organization of choice for our workforce development community across the Atlanta region. So take note of our sponsors here, WorkSource Georgia, specifically WorkSource Metro Atlanta, in addition to the state, Atlanta Career Rides, Goodwill of North Georgia, the Metro Atlanta Chamber, First Step Staffing, and Bobby Dodd Institute, along with DHS for the state of Georgia. We're proud to have all these folks contribute to the good work of Max. Joy? Also, if you haven't had a chance yet to be introduced to your board of directors for Max for the 2022 year, I'd like to call your attention here, specifically your executive committee. Again, I'm John Helton as your chair. Vice chair is Jenny Taylor with Goodwill of North Georgia. Tim Carroll is joining our board as treasurer this year from the Metro Atlanta Chamber. Daniela Perry has done an excellent job as secretary and is going to continue that role. Amy, as I said, is our immediate past chair. Dana Inman is our very capable and able provider council chair, as is Marion Phillips with Georgia Power being our data council chair. So if you have a moment to tell these folks congratulations on their appointments, and if you haven't seen them yet, wish them well in the service and leadership that they're going to provide to you this upcoming year in 2022. And then Joy will speed right through here and talk about our agenda today. So we thought, and also based on the feedback of our surveys, folks said we'd really like to have an orientation to Max, right? And to understand all the who, what, where, when, why of the organization. And so we're going to kind of start that process with our first offering this year with our Max webinar. And so we're going to go and give you the history of Max. We're going to share and divvy up the responsibilities as most of you can empathize with. I'm double booked this morning, so I'm going to pass it to our able board members to carry on after I log off. But we're going to begin actually with Jenny Taylor, followed by Amy Lancaster King, and then Danielle is going to host a Q&A. So if you have any questions, hold them to the end and we'll make sure that we get your questions asked. But let me also encourage folks, if you have any suggestions real time, as you hear the information about the historical perspective from Max, where we came from, what we're doing and what we intend to do, we're always open for suggestions. So think about that list I just showed you of board members and executive committee members, and always reach out to the board members to let them know your intentions. So with that, Jenny, I'm going to pop it to you and let you go ahead and start with your Max member value presentation. And everybody pay attention, listen up, and understand all the benefits and all the opportunities that Max provides. And with that, thank you all for your time. Jenny, it's all you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Don. And I hope that the rest of your day goes well on this cold Friday in 2022. It's so good to see so many of you joining us for this first webinar. We really wanted to kick off the year well, but also to make sure that those of you who are contemplating membership or are a brand new member to Max, that we are giving you a bit of an orientation to how we got here, what the value proposition is, what we all derive as value, why we're here, why we're investing our time and energy, and really what the results have been, which are extraordinary. And just by virtue of you being here, demonstrates your leadership, not just in the region of North Georgia, Metro Atlanta, but also nationwide, because so many people pay attention to what Max does. So Joy, if you'll come to the next slide. All organizations need a mission. What does success look like for us collectively? What is our guiding star? And more than a decade ago, the founders of Max, the organizations got together and began this idea about just really thinking about how can we break down some of the silos? How can we have collective impact? How can we work better together? And it was just around a single project. And formed into an official organization, and fast forward to last year, we became a membership organization. But it all starts with this mission, and it's really to focus on the competitiveness of our region, to have connection, collaboration, and best practices all amongst workforce developers. And it is a place that we all come together to do that. Next slide, please. The building of community is such an important aspect to this. Back a decade ago, there were some folks who really worked well together and had official relationships and contracts and then just knew of each other. But what Max has done in building community I think best can be summed up by the speed of trust, that we can pick up the phone because we know who each other are. We know what the goals are of each of our respective agencies, and we are able to move very quickly to respond to an opportunity or to solve a problem or to gain a resource or to offer a resource, which so many people do as we get greater insight. Next slide, please. And that leads to building capacity. We aspire to be the United Nations of Workforce Development in the Metro Atlanta region, but it's really about developing our strength and our abilities and getting more resources, because so many of us in government, private, public, and nonprofit spaces need to be able to work together, because it increasingly is doing more with less, and leveraging each other's expertise and resources is one way to really be able to move more quickly and to build that capacity to respond to the needs of our neighbors. Next slide, Joy. So we have 4 goals. I'm not going to read them to you, but they are primarily centered around alignment as the first, awareness and visibility, just knowing what is going on, providing opportunities for the members and the region, and then really being that neutral third party. When I walk in the room, I bring goodwill with me. When others walk into the room, they're bringing their agency with them. And we bring our knowledge, our resources, and our perspective. But when we join MAX together, we leave our individuality at the door and we begin working towards the collective. And that is an incredibly powerful thing, that we all know that MAX is for all of us, with all of us, for all of us. And that is a really powerful thing to have that not everybody does. Next slide, please. So this is what we believe is our secret sauce, why it works, why we've been successful. We really bring together all those silos, all those disparate and fragmented pieces into a collective. And at the time that we were working on this, nobody else was doing it. We found that it was a gap in our model and our service delivery a decade ago. And it's not so today. We still have pockets, geographic areas and, this little piece maybe, but these are small shifts rather than the need to have a system, because we now have an ecosystem that works well together. We really connect the dots so that we can work together and leverage each other's resources, like I said. We can think very broadly when we each come in as an individual. Now we have this ability to move with all of the players. So many times an organization has come to the region and they learn there's literally a one-stop place to get all the players you need. And that's MAX. If you're talking about putting people to work, if you're talking about upskilling, if you're talking about a response, you have all the players that you need in one place, and we all know each other, and we can speak as one voice often, each with our own perspectives, but one voice. Next slide, please. And MAX can be that liaison. So no one of us who has our distinct roles, missions, responsibilities can represent alone. But when we together agree, then obviously MAX can be the liaison to get to all of those individual organizations and bring each of those necessary partners to anything. We have an open forum, non-biased agenda. It helps us to think about what all of us need and to highlight, best practices and bring it to everybody. It's not proprietary what any of us are doing. We're not. I haven't heard anybody yet selling to anybody else. It is really. Let me just share with you, and let me tell you, and let me ask you, and have a forum to learn about trends and research and to hear from each other. Which is the next slide as well. A rising tide does lift all boats, and so generously, everybody who I have met through MAX and our own organization, we share openly, freely, and because what we're doing here is lifting people out of poverty and making our neighbors and our community stronger, better, faster, and making sure that everybody has that opportunity for inclusion and equity, which is so important to all of us. And then that is that last, we had an individual professional development and helping people to move up the career ladder, across the career lattice, or just hold hands with another to really gain skills and gain experience and to improve individually and their organization as we work to improve the collective. And then next slide, please. So the structure of Max is a little bit different than in some other communities. It's really a hybrid approach where we have a membership association with some very concrete things, and Amy's going to share those with you about how we are very intentional about providing benefit to our members and sharing the knowledge of our members with each other. We have this backbone organization with the board of directors and each of the councils who are able to facilitate our collective work and how we can strategically move forward. And that umbrella entity where when I talked about that, if you come to one, you get all, that you're able to access the entire network and all the players of when you come to Max. And if you don't know who to talk to, I guarantee somebody else in the network does. So it is a really, truly a one-stop place to get to everything you might need related to workforce development. Next slide, please. And so with that, I also am double booked today. So I will bid you farewell, leave you in the very capable hands of Amy Lancaster King, who has been in this work since the beginning and is our immediate past chair and has moved us into this model in a visionary way to being a membership organization successfully. And so, Amy, I leave it to you and your beautiful scarf.
Thank you, Jenny. And what a fabulous job this morning walking us through all the wonderful things in the history of Max. So appreciate that. And best of luck on the rest of your day and hope you have a wonderful weekend. Good morning, everybody. Excited to be here. Next slide, please, Joy. As Jenny mentioned, kind of our major goals and our keys to success, I'm going to walk through how we actually do that and create space for those things that Max does as part of our member benefit. So first is building awareness through the information brokerage. And I'm sure everybody on here gets the Max Monday email, and that I'm sure it's like close to 20 pages now. It is a wealth of information that I go to on a regular basis to see what's happening, who else I can partner with, all of those wonderful things. And we've made that free for everybody. Now, the content that goes in there is not all, some of that is limited to members only, like the RFP page and the job boards page. You do have to be a member in order to post in that information. But right now we have 1,700 subscribers, but know that doesn't even include all of the shares. So when the Max Monday email gets forwarded on, there's quite a few of those that are happening each week. And Joy can give us a number on that maybe in the chat box. Our website as well is a great resource for the workforce community. Again, with all of the things that we can post on there around the job board, the RFPs, those types of things, data tools, and then our resource library, which is something that we've added more recently. Having come from the chamber and the research that the chamber develops, that's a great place to put that for all of us to see. But I'm sure we come across lots of great data on a regular basis that would be valuable to the Max community. So being able to have a platform to share and organize and identify those quality resources of data is very important. But just having one collective place for us to all go to is key here. So next slide, please. The resource, I already touched on the resource library. I'm not as polished as Jenny was with her presentation, so I apologize. But our data council oversees the resource library. And so they're the ones that are reviewing all of the information and making sure it's current, up to date, and that what gets added, there's a litmus test of, in a sense, but lots of great data that's on there that will help us in our day-to-day operations in our own respective organizations. Next slide, please, Joy. For the next kind of bucket area is professional development, and Jenny touched on that. It's professional development for people all across the workforce development system. So we've got Max Academy, which we do for members at half price and then no discount for non-members. The Max Minutes are free. As you know, last year we went through a period of where they weren't free, but we realized this is another area that there's such great content going on here that, and given the virtual aspect of it, making that available to a broader network was important. And then Max Talks, and these have been really, really valuable to the workforce community. I remember the first one that we did with Delta, and it was really great to have candid conversations with the person over hiring for the mechanic side of Delta and the aviation mechanic side, and really just getting candid feedback from the challenges that they were experiencing. We've done that with healthcare, with IT. So we're really trying to create a space for employers so that they don't have to have individual conversations with everybody in workforce, but come to us as Max and share that insight, both what their current challenges are, but also where they're moving to in the future. So these have been very popular events. Both the Max Academy and the Max Talks have been extremely popular. And so there is a discounted price for members, and then the non-members will pay the full price. Next slide, please, Joy. So fostering alignment, this is key to the core of what Max is. It is really about creating a space for us to work together and break down some of those silos. And I can just tell you from when I started being involved in Max back in 2014, 2015, that so much wonderful work and partnerships have been created out of this. One of the things that I remember was the 100,000 Opportunities initiative that we were able to do in partnership with Max and really leverage all of the wonderful organizations that were here in the region to make that such a success. But those things happen by cultivating relationships with one another. And so the networks that we have kind of embedded within Max are the leadership network. And that's really a space where the senior leaders within the various organizations get together and create, it's a space to work through issues. How can we innovate ideas? How can we create solutions that work for the people that we're trying to serve, and how can we help get around those barriers? The Provider Council, Dana has done a fabulous job of leading the Provider Council and creating that space where the providers, which the people working closest to the participants, how can they help each other? How can they share best practices? How can they advocate for what they need to better serve people as well? The Data Council, led by Marion Phillips, is another great space. This was our newest council that was added a couple of years ago, and it is a fabulous group if you love data. And there is a lot of workforce data available out there, but there's a lot that we can do together. So this is really a space for all of the people in the workforce data arena to come together. And there wasn't a space like that before. And then our annual meeting, of course, there's great value in bringing us all together. And we hope that we get to do more of that in person sooner than later. We keep thinking it will be able to do it in person in a few months, and then a few months comes and it's not quite there, but fingers crossed the next few months we'll be able to do that. All of these things are available to members, and so they're not available. The Leadership Network, Provider Council, Data Council are not available to non-members. You have to be a member to be part of this. And then right now the annual meeting is just for members. That could change in the future, but there would definitely be a price differential for that. Next slide, please. And then just awareness, raising awareness and visibility about workforce, our assets, our opportunities, and what we do, right? There's a lot of misperceptions about what we do and what the needs are to really make a dent in the workforce. development. So the provider portal, which is really kind of where Max all started, that first mapping exercise of who all the workforce development players are or were in the region back in 2014. This has become a valuable resource, and we're starting to see that folks outside of the Metro Atlanta region are starting to populate that, which is wonderful. The more that the more people that are putting their information in there, the more organizations that are listed, the more valuable of a resource it is for everybody. Our Max blog, so different articles posted to the Max website and socialized through our Max Mondays email. Max member spotlight, obviously you have to be a member to get spotlighted, and then Max member alerts. So as you'll see, early notification on workforce happenings from Max members and network. And I'm starting to see, I think is Joy, I think next slide, please, but I think that might be, okay, this is the provider portal. We do have quite a few questions coming in, so I can try to answer those now, or I'm gonna check with Dana or Daniela. Do we want to go through and then start to address the questions at the end? Is that what's your preference?
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of questions we can probably start with now. Amy, if you're good with that, and then we can kind of, I know we're getting close, I think, to the question slide, but I think this is a great place to pause because we have gotten a few questions.
Perfect.
And I think the first one's a great one. Who is the primary contact for Max to ask questions or find resources? I know we're all happy to be helpful too, but would love your thoughts as past chair about who's a good clearinghouse for kind of all information related to Max.
Hands down, it would be Joy.
Yeah.
So please email Joy, and then she will pull all of us that need to be involved in that piece. So she is the go-to person for us, please.
Absolutely, I would ditto that. If you have questions about Max, Joy knows everything and knows how to get in contact with all of us. So she is a fantastic resource. One question too we got specific to the data council is, how do you get access to the group? How do you get data from there? Just kind of share a little bit more about that group.
So for the data council, you do have to be a member of Max to be on the data council, and you have to be involved in that space. So it's really for those data gurus and those people that are dealing with that type of data on a regular basis. So if you're interested, I would direct you to Marian Phillips, and she'd be happy to talk with you about the data council. And we can share, as we send out this the presentation will include Marian's contact information for you to reach out to, or Joy can also give you make that connection for you.
Perfect. And then I know someone asked a question, a soft copy on membership details. I know we've got those probably in a couple of places too, but I think that would be a great follow-up too. We'll make sure we have all of our one-pagers because I know we've done some work to get all of that in a consolidated place, just so people can really make sure that they understand what's a member benefit.
Mm-hmm. So one of the questions, Joy, go to the next slide. I know Roché's got a question about correlating with other networks. So did I skip the one about one of the other things that we're able to do? I'm not sure what slide it is, Joy, that talks about, given that we are a membership association, we can get continuing ed credits that apply to our certifications for a couple of other entities, IEDC, and one other one. And Joy, if you need to pop in to correct me if I say it, I don't want to imply the wrong thing, but I just want clarity, and we can share that out. Thank you, Joy, to the rescue.
Right. This is going to come up a little bit later with respect to Dana's presentation, but that is the International Association of Workforce Professionals, I think is what you're referring to, as well as the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Sorry, Dana, didn't mean to do that. If you can get me back to where I was, perfect. So the Max provider portal, go to the next slide, please. And then Max member dues. Okay, so what is what does it take to money wise to be involved? We did we varied dues based on organizational budget. So $150 for under $1 million per person. And then between 1 million and less than 10 million is $275 per person. And then anything above that is $495 per person. Next slide, please. And those are for annual, just to make it clear. It is, we are annual from January through December. And so all of these opportunities to engage, connect, learn, the Max Minutes, there are 12 of those a year. We've got Max Academy and Max Talks, both once a quarter. And then the Data Council, Provider Council, and Leadership Network all meet 6 times a year, and then our annual meeting. So lots of opportunities for engaging with the Max community, in addition to what you get from the Max Monday email, all of the spotlighting that can happen through the website and the email, as well as just having information on the provider portal. Next slide, please. And this is where I think I turn it over to Dana Inman, who is our chair of the Provider Council and has done a fabulous job there. So Dana, welcome and good morning, and thank you for joining us. And I will pass it to you. You're on mute.
Good morning, everyone. So Joy, can you get to the slides around? Yes. Perfect. Okay, so we've compiled kind of a creative way to maximize, engage you all and maximizing the value of your Max membership. We created 22 ways because we are in the year of 2022. And a lot of those things we've already covered. So I won't go into specifics about things that Amy or Jenny or John have already covered, but did want to outline how you as a member can get engaged in a lot of the things that we've already covered. And if you have questions, obviously put them in the chat, and then we'll cover them in the next section as well. Next slide, Joy. Okay, so the first way obviously is to review the Max member benefits. So these are always listed on our website. And there is a page on our website that outlines the Max benefits. There's also a PDF on the website where you can download the member benefits. I think there was a question in the chat around that, a soft copy of this, but that is available on our website right now. So you can go there now and download the PDF that outlines all of the benefits that we covered today. Next way is also to consult with a Max leader. So it could be someone on the Max board, it could be one of the council chairs, it could be anyone that you've heard from today or that you is listed on our website as a resource. As Amy said, we definitely the first person to start with is Joy, because she knows who the right person to connect you with is. But everyone that's on the board is here as a resource and would love to get involved with you and provide information as you need it. The next way is to ensure that your organization is listed or included in the Max provider portal. So as Amy said, this really kind of was the start of Max in terms of getting one place where all the providers, training providers, workforce development providers, supportive services providers could be in one central place, and everyone has access to that information. And so we definitely encourage you, if your organization is not listed in the provider portal, to get listed and create a profile so that members of Max can see the work that you're doing, but also job seekers can know that you exist and can get involved with you. Also, to be a member, to spotlight it as a Max member. So occasionally we spotlight members both in the Max Mondays, but also on our Max website. And so this is a way to also get visibility for your organization or the work that you do. So encourage you to complete that profile so that we can spotlight you on an upcoming event. Max Academy, as Amy said, is professional development. And it really is geared towards workforce practitioners, so those frontline, second line staff that are working directly with job seekers. And so we work on the board and the Provider Council work together to create the programming for that. But we definitely encourage you to get engaged, to invite your staff to get engaged in those upcoming professional development opportunities. This year we'll have 4 once per quarter, and that's a great way to get engaged and get involved. Max Talks is the other way to get involved, and that's directly with employers. So on one hand, we're speaking to the practitioners, and on the second hand, we're speaking to employers. And so both of those provide an opportunity for you all to get engaged and really get involved. serve as a speaker at an upcoming event is always an opportunity there. We love hearing from members. We all have great insights and expertise, and it's really important and helps with the entire system for us to share what we know with others. Next slide. Okay, recommended data tools. So as we've talked about today, we have a great resource on our website, the resource library. The Data Council vets everything that's put on there, so we know that it's accurate, it's current, and it's relevant to the work that we're doing. And so if you have access to data or a study or report or something that would the entire community would benefit from, we definitely recommend that you get that information to us so that we can post it on the website for everyone else to have access to. Career opportunities are posted on our Max job board. So again, a lot of this stuff is on our website. If you have not gone to our website, definitely encourage you to do that. So we do have a job board. So if you have positions available within your organization, we encourage you to post those on the job board. Those job listings also get sent out on our Max Monday newsletters. The RFP board. So if you are looking for you have a project that you need some capacity, external capacity for, say for instance, you are looking for someone to do an evaluation or collect data or evaluate data for your organization. That's a great way to access potential companies that could provide that service to you. So think about things that you are looking for and have RFPs that are available. You can post those on our website. Serve as a guest writer for our blog or contribute information. So again, we're trying to make sure that we have collective voices within Max, and so we encourage everyone to contribute. Facilitate member-to-member or member-to-network connections. If you have an event or thinking about an event that you're have coming up and you want to get Max involved, definitely reach out to Joy to figure out if there's a connection point or a way that we can support that activity. And joining the councils. So the councils, the Data Council, the Provider Council, and the Max Leadership Network, as Amy outlined, are only available to members. And so if you are a member and are interested in joining one of those councils, definitely reach out to us because we want to again have as many voices at the table as possible. Next slide, please. Participate in business use. So Max, 15 and 16 are somewhat, and 17 are somewhat related in that Max does also connect our members to external organizations that are part of the workforce ecosystem, right? So we partnered with Business University on providing discount to our members for a professional development program related to business engagement. We are able to provide credentialing credits through CWDP and NADAP for members as well. So if you participate in any of our Max Academy or Max Talks events, then those qualify for your certification and recertification credits. We're also able to offer discounts through some of their activities as well and their membership because you're affiliated with Max. So really encourage you all as we continue to connect with external entities that are in this ecosystem. If you are aware of something that we are not aware of, definitely let us know and we will get in touch with them and try to see if there's a connection point there and we can bring those offerings to our members as an added benefit. Let's see, 18, we are, as we are continuing to develop into a membership organization, we encourage you all to give us feedback about how we're doing, things that we can add that would help to ensure that we are a premier membership organization, that you are getting the benefit out of being members, because we want to make sure that you continue to renew your membership. We also receive alerts on different things, early alerts. So sometimes things are happening behind the scenes, and as Max members, we get the early notification of things happening before it goes out to the general public. An example of that last year was the Rework America Alliance. So we were kind of in the beginning stages of understanding what that opportunity was for the Atlanta region because of our affiliation with Max. So we definitely get an insight into a lot of things that happen early on in that process. As Amy mentioned, our Max annual meeting, as a membership organization, we hold an annual meeting. We had our first one last year, which was great. We got remarks from Senator Warnock, which was awesome, and one of his staff people joined us and asked and answered questions with Daniela. And so things like that, we are bringing resources to you all. We also want to make sure that you're getting, the best of the best And so I encourage you to attend the annual meeting as well. Become a candidate for the Max Board of Directors. If you are interested in learning more about being on the board and ways that you can contribute, reach out to Joy or John or Jenny to find out more about that. Next slide. And lastly, it really is about the people that are in the room, right? So as a member of Max, you have the opportunity to engage with a lot of professionals in different capacities. And so we encourage you to get involved in everything, to show up, whether virtually or in person, and start networking and getting to know your other your colleagues. That's the way that those relationships help to foster the work beyond our individual organizations. So there's a couple of quotes that we've received from current members about the benefits that they've received from Max. I won't read those, so we'll put them on the screen for you all to read. This first one is from Jill DeHines, which is a past commissioner and also a past board member for Max, and talking about her experience with Max. The next one is Shelley Miller. She's a member of our provider council and talking about her experience with Max. And last one, Chris Motor, also describing his experience as being involved with Max and the work that we're doing. Okay, so I covered, I think, all 22. So I'll turn it over to Daniela to continue to answer the questions that are in the chat. And if you all have additional questions, please continue to send those in. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dana. That 22 is a long one, which proves there's so many ways to get involved in Max, which is great. So we've got one question. Is there a contact list of all Max members? And Amy, Joy, Dana, that's a great question. Do y'all have kind of some insights on how people can get in contact with other Max members to continue to grow their network and learn more about kind of how to continue to grow and really build those connections we talked about as being a huge member benefit for Max?
So what we're working on is a members only portion of the website where we will have a membership directory for that exact thing. We're in the process of that. It's going to take just a little bit, but I'm hoping that that'll be available hopefully this year.
That's awesome. And I think a huge member benefit, especially as everyone kind of transitions back to finding their in-person virtual programming, and we all kind of try to find some sense of normalcy. I know we had a question too about how ATL works and WorkSource Georgia gets plugged in. I know we've got lots of folks that are involved with Max. They're in all of those organizations. So if you're looking to connect more with those, I know we all work hand in glove to really, again, just bolster workforce efforts in Metro Atlanta. But Amy and Dana, if y'all have anything to add to that, would love y'all's insights too.
So WorkSource Georgia is and WorkSource Metro Atlanta are two of our anchor investors. And I failed to talk about anchor investors, so I can go back to that, Joy, if you want to go to that slide. And then ATL Works is kind of the public face of WorkSource Metro Atlanta. One of the things that's as a result of being together in Max is the 5 local areas in our region. WorkSource boards have been much more collaborative, and ATL Works is a manifestation of that collaborative effort. So considering that a lot of the people in the region may not know exactly which WorkSource board to go to, ATL Works will direct them to whichever one is appropriate based on their address. So it is a direct result of the partnerships that have been cultivated through Max. And then that is, we've got direct links to that on our Max website as well. So if I may just take a moment of privilege, and I apologize for missing the anchor investment piece. There are individual memberships, which are ideal for some organizations, and for other organizations like our anchor investors, it makes more sense to be an anchor investor based on the savings that you get. So we've got 3 different levels of anchor investor. Champion, which is $25,000 annually, but that gives you an unlimited number of memberships. Catalyst is $10,000 annually and gives you up to 25 members. And then advocate is 5,000 and gives you 12 members. Again, those are annual investments. And I will say those have been critical to supporting Max throughout the history of Max. And we are grateful to our anchor investors. And for those larger entities, I think it's definitely, there's a significant value there and cost savings to be an anchor investor. So yes, these are our anchor investors. And you can see WorkSource Georgia, both WorkSource Metro Atlanta, which is the 5 WorkSource boards together, the DHS with the state logo, Atlanta Career Rise, Goodwill, Metro Atlanta Chamber, First Step Staffing, and BDI. So grateful to our anchor investors that really keep Max going, but all of our individual memberships are key to Max as well. So thank you, Daniela. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I think it's a great opportunity to continue to highlight our anchor investors. They do so much for us and really allow us to do a lot of our programming as well. We've got a question from Wendy. She's new to Max, works with job seekers within community organization of ESL students through the technical college system, and wants to know if she should be a member. I would absolutely recommend yes, but would too love if y'all have some thoughts about how best to get plugged in. I know we featured some programs too about within Max Minutes about how to continue to get students that maybe do have language barriers continue plugged into the workforce, but certainly lots of opportunities to get to know new folks and continue to build those relationships.
And I'll just add also, as a provider, if you're interested in joining the Provider Council, definitely reach out to me or to Joy to have a conversation about potentially joining the council, and if you're a right fit and what the benefits of being on the council are. We're happy to have those conversations.
Great. I think a Provider Council will be an awesome opportunity because you do get to meet with so many organizations that are doing very similar work, and y'all can really continue to utilize your resources in different ways. I know too, we've got lots of questions from people that are thinking about becoming members, new members. Where would y'all recommend getting started if you are new to Max, you've just joined, you're trying to figure out where to plug in? We've laid out 22 options for you, and you're trying to see which one would be a good fit. Do y'all have kind of some best practice recommendations on where to start, or just kind of how to test the waters to see maybe what would be best for you?
My best recommendation would be to email Joy and just set up a phone call with her. And then as she learns about your needs, she can best kind of plug you in to where the best place to start with. And the other thing I want to say is wherever you start with Max, you can grow from there, right? Like this is not like the Provider Council, that's a fabulous place. That doesn't mean that's the only place that you engage, right? There's lots of opportunities. So, but I think Joy, not to put too much on her, but she would be the best one to be able to guide you.
I would agree with that. And I'll add, is also to think about your role within your organization and what makes the best sense as well. So if you are a frontline staff or second line staff or work directly with job seekers, think about where the best use of your time is and what the benefit that you would get out of your participation. If you are an executive director or a manager, think about what the best way for you to plug in terms of the best use of your time. So we have things at different in different capacities, different levels for that reason, because we realize that everyone needs the same things. And so also think about what you specifically need within your role, within your organization, and connect with us on that level so that we're not kind of wasting your time. You're not in meetings and things that don't make sense or don't align with what you need, but also that you're contributing in the ways that make the most sense for your organization and for Max. So think about also your role and how to get engaged at that level.
I think that's a lot of really great advice. And kind of similarly, maybe you've been a member for Max for a long time. You are sick of kind of doing everything on Zoom. You're trying to reinvigorate New Year resolutions, new start. Are there some kind of just, guidance that you can give to folks that maybe they've kind of been involved in specific ways, but now they're trying to branch out and think differently about how could be good opportunities to get engaged? I think all the councils are great places if you're looking to grow in Max, but any other advice about what may be helpful if you're just looking to try something new and you've been a member of Max for a while?
I will say I know the plan is for the first quarter that the Max Academy and Max Talks will be virtual. But after that, our goal is to be in person because we know this community needs to have some face-to-face time. So please look out for that when those dates become available and get locked in, because that'll be a great opportunity to connect in person with everybody. The other network that I want to mention is the Leadership Network, which is really, a solutions oriented network. So really rolling up your sleeves and working on an issue that sometimes will take more than one meeting. A lot of times it'll be like, okay, let's work on this for a while and see where we can move the needle. So that would be a great place for that. Dana, anything that you want to add?
I think also, just try everything, to be honest. I think particularly those things that are, available as part of your membership. If you have never attended a Max Academy, think about attending, even if the topic isn't directly related or connected to your work. I think it's a great opportunity to see who else is in the room, start networking and make those opportunities, those connections, further those connections. It's a little harder, as Amy said, a virtual environment, but we still being in a virtual room and helps to cement those connections. So I would say, try to get involved in something that you haven't done before. If you're receiving the Max Mondays, it's a way that most of us kind of started our connection to Max, but there's so much more beyond that, as we've outlined here. So think about something different and just try something new. It may not be the right fit for you, but at least you tried it. So I encourage everyone to sign up for at least one Max Academy, one Max Talks, continue to support the Max Minutes, and just, try everything at least once to see if it's a right fit.
And Dana, I want to tag on to the Max Minutes piece. This is a great opportunity to showcase if you're doing some fabulous work or have done some great research that's really valuable to this community. Reach out to Daniela, because this is the platform for you to share that information. We want to learn from each other, and we've got a lot of very talented and very smart people as part of the Max Network. So please feel free to bring that to Daniela to get on the schedule.
And if you have ideas for Max Academy or Max Talks as well, we're open to those things. We're always looking for people to roll up their sleeves and help us do the work. So we are not proprietary about who helps to facilitate these activities. We would all, I imagine, love some additional support on the back end side. So if you are, one of those people who wants to roll their sleeves up and get involved, definitely encourage you to do that as well.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We've got lots of good ideas on our end, but we certainly are not the only ones that have good ideas. So we'd love your feedback. Y'all are doing things. If you've seen someone else do something really cool and you're like, I think more people should know about this, I know we'd love to highlight and feature those ideas because there's so much going on great in the Metro Atlanta area. And I think that we just want to continue to highlight all the good and the bright spots so we can replicate and scale and do more for folks in their job seeking and looking to grow in their professions. We have one question too about how do you get started in pursuing certifications? I don't know if y'all have thoughts on that, or maybe Joy too, if you've got some insights. And I know we did actually feature David last year from NADA too, talking about what's going on in that space too. So we'll do that through Max Minutes. We certainly want to just get as much information to you, but Joy, would love your thoughts.
Oh, absolutely. So the Certified Workforce Development Professional credential is through the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals, NADA, as Daniela just alluded to. And as a Max member, you do not actually have to join NADA to start working on that credential. You can start working on the credential right away. All you need to do is go to NADA's website, click on the certification, and there's a tutorial in terms of the steps to take, but you just let them know you're a Max member and you can start working on that as you're ready. The Max Academy workshops are eligible workshops that count toward the recertification of the CWDP if you happen to already have that. But you'll have to take training that NADA recommends to get the certification in the first place. For the Certified Workforce Professional, that's through the International Association of Workforce Professionals. And you can start working on that as well. Max Academy workshops count toward both the certification and the recertification for that credential. And then there's the other credential through Business U, which is a certified business engagement professional, that you can qualify for a 25% discount because you're a Max member. And that's actually a pretty significant savings. I think it's more than a $300 savings for that credential. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one if you have any questions about that. I'm a big believer in continuing our professional development and pursuing certification, because what it does is it puts us on a pathway to continuing to grow in this profession of workforce development, and to continuing to access resources that can help us grow in our abilities to serve those we serve, the job seekers, employers that you serve. So big believer to pursue that.
Thank you, Joy. And if you don't know how knowledgeable Joy is about all of these things, now you know what we say to give all of our questions to Joy, because she does know everything. We've had us flow in the chat, and I know we're getting a little close on time. So we've got a couple minutes if you want to put anything in the chat, any last burning questions, but again, we're always happy to talk further. Just really want to thank everyone for joining for our first Max Minutes. I'm glad that everyone's found this really informative and helpful. We always want to make sure that you've got all the great information to learn how to best plug into Max and maximize your investment. We're just really grateful for your support. And if you're not a member of Max, we'd love for you to become a member so we can get to know you better and make sure we can support you. So with that, Joy, I think, are there any other closing slides we want to move through? So this is a great, blurb about us too. Again, you'll see at the very bottom, that's a great way to contact Joy if you've got questions about becoming a member. I know we've shared some links too about more information, but again, just please let us know how we can be a resource and answer your questions. Appreciate your time this morning. We'll give you just a couple minutes back in your day. Hope you have a great Friday. Stay warm, and we will see you in a month. Thanks so much, guys.